It's time to knock out another section of the Transamerican Trail. This time, we're heading to Virginia. We left Lexington around 4 a.m., hit Damascus, Virginia around 9:30 a.m. Riding with me on this trip is Chris, aka El Jefe, and we're meeting up with Yolanda, Bryce, and Axel, some friends who bought an X-Venture trailer at Expo East. So what are your expectations for this trip?
I'm going to eat more pork rinds, drink more coffee, see some cool, have a nap in the woods, probably piss in the woods once or twice, maybe get drunk on some Country Boy beer. All right, let's be honest, I'm going to get drunk on some Country Boy beer.
The Stockholmes pulled in around 10, gassed up, and did a little work. We brought them a second battery from X-Venture and got them hooked up with some Zamp solar panels. And again, traveling with newer people, having Rocky Talkies saved the day. You got communication?
No, I do not have any comms.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
But the Falcon crashed.
We've started the trail. On the other side of Damascus, there was just a short mountain climb to the first turnoff. I absolutely love the Appalachian Mountains. We did the North Carolina section of the Transamerican Trail in the middle of summer, and I was curious to see what the difference would be between riding in the Appalachian Mountains in the winter to summer when there's full leaf cover. It was immediately evident that a good brake controller on this trip would be key. Being able to switch our Tow Pro Elite to off-road mode, priceless. It didn't take long till we both had to stop and air down the tires.
It's a little high.
60?
Bryce and Yolanda are two of the nicest people we've ever met. They definitely make this trip a lot more fun.
It's got a lot of bulge. It's good bulge. Sidewalls punching out just right.
Traveling with animals adds a whole new dynamic to overlanding. Baby couldn't join us on this one, but Axel was having a blast running along the trail with us. A little bit down the trail, we heard of all too familiar sound, just like the previous trip to the Frog Loop. The channel on the Rhino rack had blown out again.
Yeah. So I had
Blowing out the channel here
got
and here so far. After a quick repair, we hung out for a little bit and let the dog stretch his legs. Our lunch spot picked out for the day was Painted Pink Brewing in Tazewell, Virginia. This place was awesome, hitting on all cylinders. We brought them in some Country Boy Brewing, ordered from their huge menu. They even had alcoholic sodas on tap. They were even gracious enough to throw up some of our stickers. Opinion on Painted Peak Brewery?
rocking. Good steak. Actually, huge menu for a brewery. 8, 9, 10 fermenters. Ton of beer. Good people. Everybody's really friendly, and you can play pool in the brewery.
At this point of our trip, this is what we'll call inadequate lighting. When we got back to Kentucky, we ordered Baja Design Squadron Pro lights. Of course, it being winter, all the campgrounds were closed, so we camped right outside the gates of White Cedar Horse Campground. Camp went up in about 20 minutes, so we whipped out the propane fire pit and drank some good old reliable shotgun wetting. Something to keep vigilant about is camp safety. Sleep was a little rough with the raccoon hunters running up and down the road all night long. Especially when they were looking for their dogs, they tried walking through our camp at 2 a.m. It was a bit hard getting back to sleep after that commotion. Just something to think about when you're planning your next trip. We took our time getting camp packed up and got back on the road, only to be stopped 5 minutes in.
We just ran into a recurrent problem with traveling in the winter, which is road closures. So always check with the park services before you get onto the roads and make sure that your path is open and they haven't gone through some seasonal closures. We're now having to backtrack a little bit in order to do a workaround. So just something to note.
Quite a bit of the Transamerican Trail are back roads, county roads, and unimproved roads. Doesn't make it any less fun. Those parts of the country are usually where you find little gems. The Virginia section of the Transamerican Trail crosses over the Appalachian Trail quite a bit. When we crossed it, we got out, walked a few feet, so technically we hiked a portion of the Appalachian Trail.
What are you doing, Chris?
Walking the Appalachian Trail with my coffee.
And another seasonal closure. This one was pretty disappointing. It was a 15-mile stretch that we had to parallel on county roads. The county roads were still beautiful, but from them you could see how awesome that trail would be covered in clouds. This would be one of 3 sections we couldn't do due to time of year. Next stop was Penny's Diner. These are the type places I love to find when out traveling. With a Waffle House type menu, this hit the spot. A short distance out of Lowmore, Virginia, we stopped for a little bit to see some mountain streams and put the drone up for the first time since the weather had been rainy, extremely windy, or just low visibility or in a state park. I would just like to note, it's our opinion that on these length of trips, where you're just trying to cover miles, 2 to 3 vehicles is the perfect amount to keep a pace that everyone can settle on. It was really great to travel with 2 X-Venture trailers with 2 different vehicles to see how they handled. For the next 5 hours after lunch, we busted tail to get to our last stop before they closed for the night. Once again, insufficient lighting made for slower going. I thought that LED headlights and fog lights would do the trick. I was wrong. Our last destination stop for the trip was Big Fish Cider Company in Monterey, Virginia. We made it 45 minutes to close. This place is awesome. It's in a small town, they have award-winning ciders, and it even came complete with a salty bartender. We spent our remaining 30 minutes while they were open talking about the day and the things we saw. The Virginia section stays in Appalachian Mountains. I recommend it to anybody. We parted ways from Bryce, Yolanda, and Axel, pointed the Jeep west, and drove all night through the rain straight back to Kentucky.